It's always a refreshing feeling. It's like the rain falling on your face and it just washes everything away. The faint whiff of the salt spray of the sea, and you can hear the faint call of the gulls. There's a nice breeze that blows across you, keeping you cool. And you just feel all of your tension, your stress just melting away. May, what is Elvish, this meditation like? For like, what do you see in your mind when this happens?
I I've turned my back on the gulls. Um, my time in the Grey Havens was frustrating to me as I watched peop, my people come through, leaving Middle Earth and going across the ocean, and it became sad to me to look out on the ocean and listen to the gulls. I know I'm not ready to go yet, and a day came when I needed to leave the Havens because I was too I wasn't at peace anymore. So now that I'm in Middle Earth and having, I suppose, call them adventures, most of the time it's terrifying experiences. um,
A lot of
I
falling.
find that, yes, a lot of falling, and I do find that I do miss I do miss the sea, but I'm not ready to go back yet. So it's a memory, but it's not a memory that is drawing me yet. The day might come, but I just feel like I've got something here that I need to face. I need to face away from the sea right now.
So how do you like when you go to that place in the back of your mind, what do you focus on to sort of like center your meditation, if not the city?
My music,
Okay.
um, the I think the thing I probably bring with me from my home most are the sounds of music from my days in the Havens. Um, that's really what's doing it for what centers me now. Um, I think the day will come when the sea calls to me, but that is not this day.
Okay.
So my music is really what centers me now. I have many memories of playing with my mentor and my other companions at the Havens, and I miss them. So
I'm glad you
that's
mentioned your
that's
mentor. Who like was this just someone who taught you playing music, how to be a minstrel, or was this also like your tutor in all things Elvish, or what was that like?
she she taught me music and also taught me lore. I mean, I think all of the lore that I know, um, both of our own history and also the history of Middle Earth generally, I think really came through her. Um, it was through her that I learned about the Astari who have come to Middle Earth, and that's really, I think, her stories about the reasons they came, and I'm of Círdan's people, but I'm certainly not of the higher councils of Círdan and his people. But I found out through her about the arrival and what their mission is, and that's really why I eventually left, was to go find the one they call Gandalf Mithrandir now, and she understood my need to go the opposite direction of most of my people. So yeah, I mean, she taught me lore, she taught me my music, and she actually was the person I say that basically gave me her blessing for me to go.
Okay, so you weren't just running away from the Havens.
No, no,
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but I've got something to do in Middle Earth, and I don't know what it is. But I'm trying to find the Grey Wizard, and in the hopes that if I find him, I will get more clear on what it is I'm supposed to do. I just know that there's something.
Okay.
And I suppose if not him, I might be able to someday make it. If I can't find him, my second choice would be Elrond, and my third choice would be Galadriel. So somewhere along the line, hopefully, I'm going to get some clarity.
Okay. Thank you, May. I think this is just sort of, if this was the TV show, we would see sort of just scenes from May, playing music and getting instruction from her mentor, and then maybe like the last goodbye scene as she left the Havens. And then like we sort of start up with a close-up on May's eyes opening as she finishes her sort of meditation and her refreshing her mind and body. And probably around the same time, just for the convenience of keeping the story moving along, is also when we see Ending and Sarissa starting to wake up on the floor. Pine and Carve, while everyone was resting and or sleeping, what have you two sort of been up to?
Well, first off, I believe I had my original sleep interrupted a little bit. So I may have caught up on some of that, assuming there wasn't so much activity going around that it would be difficult to do so.
I would guess not. No one's come to bother you at the tent from elsewhere in the camp.
But what I do after that, that's a... good question. Probably, I think probably the thing I'm going to do is, A, get to know the layout of these caves a little bit better, because of the inhabited parts, not going back and risking getting lost or anything like that, but at least the inhabited area, so that at least as long as we don't do anything weird, I can at least avoid getting lost, so to speak. Also find the entrance so that I could see what does it look outside now, based on what all this I've been hearing. Is there anything unusual that I could see out there?
How long exactly was everyone planning to sleep?
Probably a really long time, since we had been awake so long.
Okay. Carve, did you want to rest as well? Because I guess you've also been up all night.
I was out pretty much all night. I was resting.
Okay.
I can't remember, after having all the conversations with everybody the night before, we just kind of rested.
Alright, so Pineleaf, you're going on your own then.
Okay. As I said, I am not going into... I'm sticking to inhabited areas.
Okay. Oh, so you want to find someone who knows more about the cave system.
Say yes, Pineleaf. Say yes. That's exactly what you were thinking.
If I could find anyone who could understand a word I say.
Okay.
Because I know that there is a bit of a language barrier here.
It's a good point.
No, you just wave your hands around and it's fine.
So
just take Sarissa with you. You'll be fine.
I'm sleeping.
You're sleeping. Okay, so I guess if you venture out into the camp, it's everyone in the camp may not know who you are, but they know that you're one of the outsiders. That you don't speak their language, and so they would probably direct you to one of the elders who also speaks Westron. Let's find out which one they direct you to. Oh, that's convenient. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. So yeah, you've probably gone into the village. Maybe you've tried, approaching people, asking, like, do you understand me? Can you help me? And they don't understand you, but after a while, they've directed you to just sort of one. It's definitely still like a shanty that's sort of been set up sort of on one of the ledges that are off of the cave floor.
Right.
But compared to a lot of the other ones which have been similarly constructed, this one seems a lot stabler. It's like it's better engineered, I suppose. Like the sort of walls that have been sort of made out of stones doesn't look like it could fall over at any moment. The roof doesn't look like it's going to cave in suddenly. And you know, like the skins. You know, like where most people will just have the skin sort of just draped over like the rods that they've fashioned out of sticks that they found. These actually seem to be like fully like made almost like a curtain with hooks that make it able to hang and swing without tearing or much friction. So yeah, so you arrive at, you've been directed to this place. Are you going to?
Well, I will enter, or I guess actually, rather than enter, is there any contrivance for knocking or signaling your presence?
I actually think, yeah, with this one there is. There's probably a few pieces of like scrap metal that have been turned into kind of like a knocker on one side of the, like one, it's like embedded into the rock on one side, so you can like you can actually knock for this dwelling.
All right, very well. I will give a little knock then.
Okay, so you know after a brief moment you hear someone shout something in the other language, and then a woman's voice answers and says, "Oh, 1 moment, I'll be right there." And you know you hear some footsteps, and the curtain just sort of like pushed aside, and there's this you know like middle-aged woman, maybe dark auburn hair, and sort of like you know as you look past her into the room, you can see sort of like seated on one side of the dwelling is this Clabber from he was one of the 4 that you met. And she says, "Yes, may I help you?"
Yes. As you know, I am new here.
Oh,
And
you were with the group that escorted my son home.
yes. Well, our group sort of has a bad habit of getting lost, shall you say? And I was wondering if you could teach me the layout of this place, or someone could teach me the layout of this place, so as that I'm unlikely to get lost when I'm trying to go from one place to another.
And be very detailed, because even if Pineleaf goes through a place a few times, he still has issues figuring out what it is. For the record, I'm not actually in the room.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with this cave system. You'll want to talk to one of the guard watch. Is that the word for it? I'm sorry.
Guards or watchers, either would work.
Okay, the guards then. You'll want to go talk with one of them. You'll probably want to speak with Maudal. He's in charge of them. They've undertaken a project of mapping out the tunnels.
All right, Maldo, you said?
Yes.
Oh, very well. Do you know where I can find him?
He's probably at one of the entrance to this cave.
Oh, does he speak Westron?
Yes, it is required of all of the elders. It's a tradition. I'm not entirely sure why, but it is required that we all speak. What did you say this language was?
We often call it either the common language. Some of the scholars call it Westron.
Westron. I see. Interesting. We call this, well, either the language of the Southerners or the language of the Gap. What brought you to our old home, anyway? I'm sorry, you have something to do. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But Clapper has been talking about you without end. He's very intrigued by what goes on outside of our own clan.
Yeah, I could understand. Perhaps maybe later today if I still have time.
Okay, will you be at the council meeting? The Shadon has said that some of you would be joining us.
A player can't remember.
I think it's just me and Sarissa, isn't it?
I
We
don't
were all
remember.
invited, I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, the invitation was extended to everybody.
yeah, but I think only Sarissa and May heard that though. I'm not sure. I can't
They
remember
haven't
myself.
shared yet, yeah.
Yeah. So you can say whatever you like, quietly.
All right. All right. I'll have to consult with the others before I know this.
Yes, of course. You do everything as a team together, I would imagine.
Yes, and we sometimes may need to have some people doing some stuff while other people do other things. You know how it is.
Right, of course. Necessity must always dictate our actions.
Very well. Thank you for your help.
Yes, I hope you find what you're looking for.
Very well. Then I will head out to the entrance as best I could and find this Maldol.
Maudol, yes. Are
So
you sure?
That was I was talking to the GM there, not on that last
Oh,
line.
yes, Maudol. I put the name in the Roll20 chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Must you leave right away? Have you had anything to eat yet?
Oh, did I eat yet?
I think so, yeah.
That's a way to distract her. Food.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, player can't remember whether or not we had.
But there's second breakfast,
There was food
Right,
at the
I can
have a
when
point.
we got back to camp the last go round.
I mean, you ate, then you napped for a couple of hours. It's time for another meal.
Yeah, why not?
It depends whether or not it's 11's yet, I think right now I'm more curious as to learn how not to get lost at the moment. So I will politely depart and look for the guard.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am so rude. My name is Avween. And what is your name?
Oh, Pineleaf.
Pineleaf. What an interesting name.
Yes. Botanical names are common in where I live.
What names?
Oh.
Bokan names?
Botanical plant relating to plants.
Oh, okay. I see. And in our language, Bokan refers to monsters.
Oh. Okay, I understand why that would have been a surprise to you. Yes.
I see. Okay, well then, I'm nice to have met you, Pineleaf.
And nice to meet you.
Have a good day.
Good day.
And then I guess as you turn to leave, like Clabber waves at you and sort of shouts, presumably like goodbye or something.
Okay.
Yes, Megan is gone.
Actually, wait, do I have that written down? I do have it written down. He would say something like, Benachle.
Benachle?
Benachle.
Benachle. Okay.
Made a play to you too, pal.
Just to, to build the immersion. Okay, so you're heading towards the cave entrance then?
Yeah.
Okay. So, this again takes you through like the center of town where, again, you're getting the sort of odd looks from people, but no one's maintaining eye contact for long.
Okay.
As you get to the cave entrance, you see I guess, what's different from when you were coming in is that there's a couple of like rock and stake, like wooden stake barricades that are starting to be erected, you know, against the cave entrance. There's just, various guards running back and forth. There's only like 5 or 6 guards in total that you can see. But, sort of in charge of all of them, working alongside them, but he'll be answering questions and people will be coming to him. So he's clearly in charge, and he's actually that same, the big fellow that was in Shannon Biana's tent earlier.
Ah, so he looks like he's extremely busy.
Well, I mean, as busy as anyone else. This is another day. They have work to do.
Ah, okay.
Are you not going to go into like the midst of the guards then, or?
I guess I'll go. I guess I will go and speak with. Good day, sir.
He like sets down like a stone that he was using to construct another barricade and turns, like looks around and then like looks down and then and then sees you. He's like, "Oh, hello. I remember seeing you. I don't believe we were introduced."
Oh, my name is Pineleaf Needles.
Pineleaf. I am Maudal. I am one of the elders of this tribe. How may I help you?
Yes, I don't know if you know, but last night a few of us got a little disoriented inside of these caves because we're not used to them.
I believe I picked up something to that effect in Biana's tent. I thought I was simply mistranslating. I don't understand why you would be going out into the tunnels in the middle of the night.
Well, yeah, I'm not exactly sure of that myself, but I don't know exactly all that happened, and I believe some people said something about some other people also somehow being someplace where they weren't after dreaming or something like that. But the point is, though, is I want to know the area a little bit better so that if I did wander somewhere, I could find my way back easily.
The tunnels, you mean?
Yeah, in the tunnel. Well, any place, because I don't know your home all that well, so I was wondering if I could.
Well, to be
a map
honest,
or anything like that, so I could learn it.
To be honest, we don't know this place well either. We are trying to understand it ourselves. This is not our home, you know.
Yes.
I believe you've been to our home already. In fact, that is one of the questions that we as a council are going to try to answer, whether we should remain here or attempt to go back to our homes. We are not used to living in caves. But we must make do the best we can. And he sweeps an arm, gesturing at like the camp setup inside the main cavern. He says, "Well, you can see all of the walkways we've constructed, and these are where our dwellings are. I guess don't fall off one of the ledges, and you know where to go."
Okay.
As for the tunnels, we have sent scouts out. We've tried exploring the 3 tunnels that have been closest to our home cave here, and not all of the guards have returned, unfortunately.
Oh, not all of them have returned.
Yes, he barks something in the other language, and has a brief conversation with one of the other guards, and then like nods and dismisses the worker. I'm sorry. I was just making sure of the information before I relayed it to you, but from the GM consulting his own notes to make sure he's not misinforming. No one returned from the tunnel closest to us. But from the other two, there were reports that one led to a cave that seemed to be on fire, and so they didn't go any further. They came back instead. And the third tunnel from our cave seems to spiral downwards and come out in a ravine area. It looks like there's a town on a cliff above, but I'm not. They weren't very clear, and they didn't explore any further. They wished to get back before something happened.
Yes, but you said they haven't returned from the first one?
Yes, the guards did not return. I assume it means we should not go too far down that tunnel. In fact, that is why we began constructing these defenses, in case whatever is down that tunnel decides to come in our direction.
Okay.
Does this help you?
Yeah,
If someone leaves something in the tunnels.
well, I know one of the things I heard last night is that there's a rumor of the possibility of trolls somewhere in the system.
What is a troll?
A troll is a... Think of... Do you know what a giant is?
We have tales of giants, yes.
Yeah, okay.
They dwell in the mountains.
Yeah.
And eat people.
Yeah, well, trolls aren't quite as large as giants, but they are, I'd say, about twice as big as you are. Very mean. And yeah, they would eat just about anything.
I see. Twice as big as me. And they will eat anything. Even my wife's cooking. Interesting. I can understand why you would be intimidated by such a thing. I have not heard of these trolls before. One of your group has seen them in these caves?
I believe the dwarf is the one who heard the rumor of it, and it's probably best to speak with him on the matter. But I got the impression, but that's why he was around going out exploring the tunnels, was to see if he could find out where these trolls were.
All by himself?
It does sound rather reckless.
Indeed. What? You mean the other dwarf, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I meant Carve, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so he, I guess, like, pulls, like, a patch of, like, hide out, and, like, I'm trying to think what would be used. It's probably some, like, oily sack that's been mixed with, like, dirt and soot, and he, like, uses it to sort of write, like, ink on the hide, and sort of, like, the oils bond it to the hide. And so, you know, it'll rub off, but for now there's a temporary marking of just sort of like a sketch of like the three passageways that had been discovered, and then like little scrawlings. And I'd like to think that it's sort of like the sort of handwriting that like a first grader would have, or like the Middle Earth equivalent of a first grader. That says like you know, there's like a question mark for the first one, and then there's just like fire with a backwards E for the second one, and then like river with a backwards R somewhere for the third one. And he hands it to you.
All right. Thank you.
If the dwarf Carve, you said?
Yes.
Carve. Perhaps that is something we should be doing if we decide to make this a permanent home. Anyway, Carve can use this if he wishes to continue mapping out the tunnels. I do not know how many tunnels there are. We decided it best to work on securing this cave instead of trying to explore further.
Yes, I could understand that. So, and it's good that you are at least taking potential danger into account.
We are the guards. It is our job.
Yes, I understand. That's a duty that I had back in my home.
Is that so?
Yes.
You can tell he's like trying to be like delicate in how he's gonna ask a question. Is, is our is everyone there as small as you are?
Well, not. Well, I lived in a village where people tend to be around mainly by people about my size, but we lived right next to a couple other villages where the people were closer to your height.
I see. You must have appeared as children to them then.
Yeah, say we would appear because yeah, we tend to be about the size of their children sometimes.
Interesting. I had never heard of dwarves and men getting along in such harmony together.
Yeah, well, we tend well we call our people call ourselves hobbits rather than dwarves. We don't think of ourselves as dwarves.
Oh, I see. So you are a hobbit.
Hobbit, yes.
Hobbit.
Some outsiders call us halflings instead.
So many
Well,
names for one creature. Well, okay. I will stick with hobbit. That has a
Okay.
nice sound to it. I will also take care to make sure I do not refer to the to Carve as a dwarf either. Then.
No, dwarf.
Thank you.
No, Carve is a dwarf.
So he is a dwarf and he calls himself a dwarf.
Yes, he calls himself a
But
dwarf. Yes.
you would call him a hobbit.
No, I would call him a dwarf.
Because he calls himself. I see.
Do you now?
That's awesome.
There's that joke.
That was a good
After-
funny laugh.
See,
Pine
this
Leaf's
is
commenced
why
in like Peter Jackson film laughing when like they meet Frodo.
this is why they just need to make Sarissa be the ones to do all the talking for everybody.
It's not Pine's fault.
Yeah. Sarissa's a woman. He's seen women before. He's never encountered a hobbit.
But I could totally explain what hobbits are and how they're different from dwarves without all this confusion.
It's the hand gestures.
Of course, it's the hand gestures.
Very well.
Please forgive my ignorance. It is as though you have stepped out of one of our tales. Have you heard of the shapeshifters before? Do they have shapeshifters in your village?
No, we don't have anyone with that. I've heard a story that came from there's a land not a couple of days west of where I live called the Shire, which is mainly populated by hobbits, and
Your people,
yes, my people.
but not Carve's people.
No, not Car's people.
I see.
If one of Car's people walked in there, they would be seen as an unusual visitor.
That is how it is with our clans as well. It is not often that we see them meeting.
Yes,
In fact,
and
it is.
anyway, I heard a story from one of the people from there who had met about a generation or two ago who did meet a shifter, but that's the only time I ever heard of a story of a shifter.
Oh, so they are real.
Well, some people say that he was mad and made up the stories, but that's beside the point.
I see.
Well, yeah, that's
Perhaps madness is the effect of meeting a shifter.
Well, that's always possible. I never thought of that.
Uh, well, if he did encounter one of these shapeshifters, are you certain that it is he who returned and not the shapeshifter who took his form?
Well, these, as I said, I never met this particular hobbit personally, since he lived out in the Shire and I live in Stattle, which is quite a bit away. But his story became infamous that the story did filter down to our area. And you know how stories go. You hear about 3 different versions of them sometimes.
Yes, this is true.
And I got the impression that this shifter could only turn himself. He could either be a bear or a man.
Oh, then I'm not certain that we're talking about the same kind of creature.
Oh, okay.
In our legends, the shapeshifters could turn into any being that they came across. Usually they would have to eat the being as well, but I'm not certain if that would be the case.
Oh, I've never heard of anything like that.
Perhaps it is just a story among our own people. But then, until a few days ago, we thought that, your people and Carve's people and giants were just things of myth. And now you tell me that they are true. And I am seeing it with my own eyes. This changes everything for us.
Yes.
Well, for those of us who know the stories, at any rate. He looks around and sort of like lowers his voice. He's like, the kids these days.
With their Eriador pads and their walk minstrels and stuff. Oh, I tell you.
Anyway, is there anything I could do to help you?
I believe we have it under control. There's no emergency. This is just a precaution. Will you be at the council meeting later? I understand that Biana intended to invite all of you.
Well, then, I was thinking on the matter. Right now, I am planning to be there.
Excellent. I will see you later then.
Very well, I'll see you then.
Yes. Oh, one other thing.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember my son, Balin? You came back with him.
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay. If you happen to see him, could you explain to him that I'm looking for him? Just mention my name and he'll understand that I'm looking for him. He doesn't speak much of this tongue.
Very well. If I see him, I shall do my best to direct him to you.
Thank you. All right. I will see you later.
I will see you later. I will then... Let's see... I'll try to return back to our quarters and keep an eye out just in case I see his son also.
Okay. Give me a fate check.
A fate check. Okay, I guess I can do
This will just be to see if anything out of the ordinary happens.
Looks like a middling roll.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, your fate's boring. You make it back to your to your quarters without anything happening.
Maybe I should have done the roll on fate dice.
Yeah, okay, so I guess this will be just about when everyone else is sort of waking up from they're sleeping.
All right.
So actually, so maybe we'll say that you didn't take a direct route back. You wanted to get more familiar with the cave system.
Right.
So you sort of or not the cave system, but just the main cavern itself. So maybe you took sort of like a roundabout route, trying to look at all of the different levels of the cave. But yeah, you don't see Balin, and the main thing I was having you roll the fate for is Master Gerald doesn't come looking for you.
Oh, that's
So,
what that was all about.
like, remember and remind me if there's any role that's based on sort of navigating this cave in general. Go ahead and take a +1 to it moving forward.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so after your nice morning walk, you make it back, and so this is probably just afternoon. You make it back to the quarters. There's some cold meats, a little bit of bread left over, and some suspicious-looking vegetables. Everything's cold now. It's the same stuff that was there during breakfast. And yeah, this is, I guess everyone's just now starting to wake up.
All right. Well, as they're waking up, I'll munch a little bit since I'm a little peckish.
Good day, Bess.
Hello.
Hey, Pine.
Hi there.
You're awful awake this morning.
Well, I've been asking around and seeing what they're up to. It looks like they are.
So wait,
Moses-
you left the party without telling any of us and just went off gallivanting throughout the cave?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Are you giving the halfling grief again, Andang?
All right.
When
Oh,
was the
Tar-
first time? Hang on. When was the first time, Mr. Dwarf?
Ending's always giving everybody grief. I've just learned to live with it.
Yes. Apparently so. Oh, Carve. I was speaking with one of the guards, and apparently they had sent a party down one of the passages. Down 3 of the passages that they're exploring, and no one's returned from one of them.
Oh, shouldn't be surprised. Trolls, you know.
Yeah, they are preparing some defenses there.
Wait, you found somebody else who speaks the language and is actually willing to talk to us about it?
It was one of the guards, the chief of the guards.
That'll work.
But he speaks our language?
Yes.
Why couldn't they have told us that sooner?
I guess we didn't ask.
Anyway, this is well, it's not the best map in the world, but to give us an idea of whether apparently one of them is one that no one returned. One of them the third one went way down the water, and the other one was blocked by fire or something like that.
Okay, so I look at the map, the crude illustrations that Pineleaf brings to the table, and I want to know, does this map that he's got show the 3 caves that I discovered coming in from the outside?
No.
How many total between the 3 that I know of and the 3 that are going from the inside out? How many do we know total? Because I'm counting 6 right now.
Right, so this sketch only has the 3 that are from the cave system.
Okay.
I mean, I guess like as player knowledge, because he mentioned it to Pineleaf, they didn't go any further. They don't know how many tunnels there are. But I mean, yeah. After the 3 which you had gone down, there were 6 more you had counted last time before reaching the main cave.
So what we know then is that there are 6 explored, 3 unexplored. Okay, so I take my charcoal from the fire, which I know is nearby, because I'm a resourceful dwarf, and I sketch on the map the 3 that we know, which from the cave exterior is going to be bats, bugs, and a cave with a weird pull in it, and some kind of misty, funky weirdness going on. And then there's going to be a gap, and then there's going to be the 3 that he's drawn in. One that has fire, which I'm going to say that's fire, right? There's a subterranean river, and we don't know what's in that other cave because nobody came out of, but that's the one closest to where the people are. Okay. Fair enough.
Has May come out of her meditation yet?
Yeah. Or actually, I don't know. May, you tell us. Nah, she's still meditating.
Oh no, I'm just watching. I'm just watching. I'm not really taking part, but I'm watching.
Okay.
So I'm going to gesture May over so that I can show her some exercises to flex the fingers when one has been sitting in the same position for a long time.
Oh, that's useful.
Secret finger languages.
Yes.
Some interesting gestures there, minstrel.
Yeah, very interesting finger exercise.
You have to make
I've never
sure
seen those before.
that you keep your digits dexterous so that they can strum the strings or, play with the flute. Whichever
Very
instrument.
useful.
Play with the flute.
Next
I have
time,
a flute.
I'm going to show you how to pick a lock, just in case you've locked your instruments away.
You never know when that's going to come in handy. The ability to open up something that's not otherwise open to you.
Yeah.
For example.
Like, navigation is not my strong suit. I don't have to know where I'm going, because I can usually figure out what I'm doing once I get there. Reading maps is for other people.
So what's the party going to be doing?
I'm
The fellowship.
starting to just look over Carv's map and try to understand what he's doing. I'm not like taking it from him or anything. I'm just kind of like looking from a distance, but still trying to understand kind of what information that he has put together.
This is just the information which Carv has just said, right?
Right, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Are you trying to intuit something from it, or?
I'm just trying to think if we need to take action or not internally, and try to decide what's going on in the broader situation.
The broader situation, laddie, is that we have 3 unexplored caverns and one that has potentially certain doom.
Oh, just as GM, I'd like to point out that I had already assigned everything before, when we entered the cave system in general. And if anyone recalls, that's the tunnel that the party was about to go down before Carv rescued them with a torch.
Yeah,
Good to know.
That, he had mentioned something about that episode, and I was like, "Don't go down there. There's going to be something bad."
Or there's just, maybe the scouts found something good and decided not to leave.
And decided to stay there?
Right.
Found a huge pit of mithril and is like bagging it all up for himself.
They wouldn't know what to do with mithril. They're not dwarves.
Well, to be fair, what they said was that the guards didn't come back, but they didn't actually say how long the guards have been gone, did they? Like, how long ago did they send their guards out into the tunnels?
That is true.
Could just be taking them longer to explore. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. You keep thinking positive there, Lace.
Or they could be one of those guards that takes longer to explore.
The point is that we don't actually know what happened because the guards didn't come back, but we also don't know how long they were missing, so we can't necessarily say for certain that something bad happened to them. It could just be that they haven't made it back yet. Maybe there was another side tunnel that they wandered across and they got lost. I don't know. Pineleaf, did you happen to ask how long the guards had been missing?
I thought I had asked for... I thought I attempted to ask whether or not he understood it was another matter.
It's okay, Pineleaf, it was early. So, what are we wanting to do about this missing tunnel then?
suppose one of us is gonna have to go have a look.
Well, not just one. I mean, we probably go as a group.
If this is one of those, if there's a troll down there,
Well, honestly, if something has gone down and hasn't come out yet, then it may be more prudent for us to explore the other 3 tunnels to make sure we have a big picture understanding of the system before we start poking things that had better left undone. As we all know, there are older and fouler things in the depths of the earth than just orcs.
very well, you have a point there. Especially since those 3 are ones we don't know what's there, and they are unguarded.
If we run into anything,
The chat room's trying to drag us into the tunnel.
what we should do is we should run back to the barricades that you said they were establishing, and then from there we can mount a sizable, a somewhat of a defense.
And also maybe make a decision on how to proceed. I like that idea, Dwarf.
So, okay, man.
Look, Andy, he's got a name. His name is Carvax. You gotta stop calling him dwarf. It's insulting.
When he treats me better.
Okay, sapling.
No. I keep telling you this lesson. You treat others how you want to be treated.
That's the corollary to the golden rule. The other rule is the who has the gold makes the rules.
That's not true.
Anyway, I think we should probably check out those barricades at the very least.
Is that what you're all doing?
Let's go have a look at the barricades.
Okay. So the people are probably, there's probably like a little bit more like, it's less what are these things and more what are these things doing looks that you're getting, since now they've seen you sort of come and go a couple of times.
Well, before we leave, I actually need to find out how long it is until about dinner time.
Or
Because
how
that
long
council
before the
meeting is happening. Well, that council meeting is happening after dinner.
Okay.
So we need to know how long it's
Okay.
going to be till dinner.
I need torches.
Well, it's,
Okay. So you're gonna like
Bring
ask
back the
around again, or
So I'm going to ask around.
okay. So with your babbling and hand motions thing.
Yep.
Did we have this captain of the guards guy? What'd you say his name was, Pine Leaf? Mondel?
He'd probably be good to
Malvin?
ask, yeah.
Him? He said you spoke with him, so we should probably find him. He'll probably be near where we're going to go check the barricades, because he sounds like he's a defensive type.
So, Service, are you still gonna ask around, or are you just gonna ask Maudal when you get there?
Well, we can ask Maldal when we get there.
Okay.
If we're going to stop in and check with him first. But we definitely need to know how much time we've got, because I don't want to miss this council meeting.
Okay. So yeah. So yeah, you're walking through the middle of the village again. Everyone's wondering why you keep going back and forth every couple of hours.
We just can't stay put.
It's boring sitting in one spot for.
Sure. If you want to do that ending, sure. I wasn't gonna have him come at all, but not that you've
Well,
asked.
regardless of if he's actually going to come or not, I just want to try to avoid him at his character form. So even
Okay.
if he never comes, I want to just roll to see.
You don't know that he's
try
looking
to-
for you.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
The thing is, though, I have such an aversion to him. I don't care if he's looking for me or anything. I don't want to do anything that could tip him off to me being anywhere in the vicinity. So that's my role.
Ah, okay.
I'm staying the heck away from him.
Okay. So
He can only be stealthy against that person.
Pretty much.
yeah, I know.
He's walking along. Oh, there he is, and he hides behind somebody. What just happened? Oh, and dang thing, stealthy again.
He easily hides behind the Hobbit.
No, yeah, I know. Like this time, Carve, you wouldn't even notice that he's trying to be stealthy because he's actually being stealthy this time.
Nice.
So
I
it's
would
like
notice that he's trying to be
I'm just
stealthy.
walking around like normal.
Who knew? That was the secret. So yeah, I was going to say that the townsfolk probably, from last time, they probably recognized the super heroic guy walking in their midst. But this time, you're too stealthy; they don't even notice you. You just sort of keep a low profile.
Well, I'm stealthily heroic with that kind of a role, I think.
Super heroic.
All right, fine. Yeah. And brave surrounding, you bravely hid away.
Apparently, I have a theme song. That's great.
So you make your way to the barricades near the cave entrance, and things are, everything's still in motion as when Pine Leaf was here. There's like a couple new barricades. They're working on some new ones. Yeah, so Maudal's still there if you want to go talk to him. I guess you stand there deliberating, probably like a guard's like balancing some wooden stakes in his hand, and bumps into you. And oh, actually, he doesn't say oh. He says, "Thamid and continues on his way.
I was afraid of this.
Find a leaf to you too, buddy.
'Cause I'm pretty sure Pineleaf never asked if there is indeed a person who speaks Westron here.
Where's Mandel or Mag?
He's there, just he's working with everyone else.
Right.
Are you gonna go talk to him?
So maybe you should get his attention for us, Pineleaf.
Okay. Hello again.
He's like startled. He like drops his tool or something.
Oops, sorry.
It's you again. Never sneak up on a guard.
I was sneaking.
Hobbit. They do it by nature.
Yeah, sorry, my people tend to be...
If I was sneaking, I would be. Never mind.
Oh, that's right. Your people, the hobbits.
Yes.
Not like him. And he points at Carve.
What kind of conversation did you have with this guy, Pineleaf?
It's a
Carve
long
raises an
story.
eyebrow. She said, "No, certainly not."
Maybe Pineleaf wasn't as productive as I thought he was this morning.
Well,
She
we're
was.
seeing how Pineleaf is a she. That says something there, Twigman. One of the things that I like about Andang is the rustling of trees.
Maudal's confused. Is he one of the walking trees? We have legends of them as well.
With him, it's more like the wind whistling through the willows. Not what you would call a legendary tree, more like a young sapling.
Thanks, Carve.
Fascinating.
You're welcome,
We
Twigman.
are a team full of legends. It's amazing.
Indeed, we are.
They're all mine.
So what's special about you? And he's like looking at Sarissa.
Oh, I just help write the songs. May and I are minstrels.
I write the songs at. Oh, sorry.
No, please. We haven't had a good song in a while. He calls something to like the other workers, and they everyone's looking at you expectantly.
Not at the moment. Maybe after the council meeting.
You have skills you can roll to do this.
Oh, I do. That's right. I didn't think about that. I mean, do we want to actually do this right now, though? I was just,
Oh, okay, yeah, that's up to you. But
I mean, we're kind of in the middle of something, aren't we?
Right, we are kind of in the middle of something. We actually came by because we wanted to ask if you have any idea how long it's going to be until dinner, since we don't know anybody else in the immediate vicinity who speaks our language that we could get this message across to.
oh, certainly. We typically just wait for the horn call, but and so he gestures, and you notice the sort of like at the top of like the cavern, there's like a giant. It's like if you were to get close, you would see that it's been cobbled together and sort of like welded from different pieces of scrap metal, but from the distance you're at, it just looks like a giant piece of sheet metal. Or, what we in the 21st century would call a piece of sheet metal. And it's sort of like reflecting some of the light that's coming from one of the holes at the top of the cave. And there's just sort of like markings around like a bunch of scaffolding on like a top ring. And Maudal explains, like, yes, that was something that Klabar, he's very inventive. And he rigged that almost as soon as we got here so we could keep track of time. We can see where the sun is. And so when the sun gets to about that marker, and he points one out, it'll be about dinner time. So you've got, I'd say, 4 or 5 markers to go. It's a very irregular way to keep track of time. We'd rather just look at the sun directly. Our people are farmers originally,
And a marker translates to 1 hour?
What?
I don't know. I'm confused.
He like says something in the other language, and there's like some disappointed mutterings as everyone goes back to work.
How many markings are there on there, on the sheet that we see?
Sorry, that's not the roll. Okay. Yeah, there's about 20 markers or so. They're not evenly spaced, is the thing. They're it's not a precision clock. It's just like a way to track time.
But approximately.
Yeah, there's like 20 markers.
Okay, so that will
If you counted, there's 20 markers.
Okay, so therefore it's a little bit shorter than an hour then for each of them.
Longer than an hour.
Longer.
Well, no, because usually if you're going by the sun, you'd only have
That would be
markers
true,
for
finally.
the
Okay,
points where the
finally.
light
But find a PDOA.
Okay, fine, whatever. There's 20 markers.
All right.
So you have a quarter of the daylight time.
Okay,
Whatever
about a
that
quarter of
translates
the
to.
daylight. Yeah, okay. So it's say it's in about 3 hours worth, I guess that'd be.
Sure.
You gotta remember is, I might not be a farmer myself, but I do come from a community of farmers.
And I'm making stuff up on the spot, so. But yeah, you're right. Okay, so you have about 3 hours then. But Maudal doesn't tell it to you in those terms.
All right then.
Was there anything else I could help you with?
Carve?
Do you have any torches we can use?
And rope.
You went adventuring without rope?
Oh, I have rope.
Ah,
I would like some more torches.
good.
Caves seem to be dark.
Torches. Certainly, I'm sure we can find some. He like calls out to like one of his lieutenants or something. They nod and they hands him, who then passes to you. Let's say 6 torches.
Okay.
So I'm asking him, has Jeff still not come back from tunnel number 1? And just for the audience's benefit, I named him Jeff in my head as the ending character.
Jeff, who is
The guard.
the guard? Oh,
Yeah.
have I been translating wrong this entire time?
Ending
His
shot.
name
The
is
Jeff.
actually Jeff. Yes.
The,
In our tongue.
Seriously, somebody make him stop talking.
the Jeff has not returned. Either it is a very long tunnel, or we should be worried, and we prefer to err on the side of caution.
So would you be willing to spare a couple guards to help us look for Jeff?
I'm not certain anyone wishes to leave the cave at the moment. We're a bit busy trying to finish these barricades. Like he looks around and like lowers his voice, even though no one else in the vicinity can understand him. Personally, I'm not certain we will see the Jeff that we sent again.
This Jeff.
That's a bummer. I was really feeling like I knew Jeff.
While ending's prattling on, I'm going to look at the setup they've got, and knowing what I know about trolls, see if it's going to be of any help if we actually have to deal with trolls.
No need to roll. If you're dealing with trolls, it's not going to do anything. They're prepared for like men attacking or horses maybe, but not trolls.
Trolls, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I'm gonna kind of slowly slink back over towards May and Pine Leaf and be like, under my breath, quietly, if there's actually trolls out there, this barricades aren't gonna help. Just let them know what I know. Just FYI.
I mean, for any of you who know what a troll is, it's not going to help. Because I mean, these aren't like solid like concrete barriers. They're just piles of rocks. They're going to get knocked over.
Well, I mean, considering what I know so far we've encountered in these caves, I don't think these piles of rocks are going to do much good against anything. Bats, bugs, trolls, what have you. So it's like, I guess our only weapon here is information. So we're going to have to get some exploring done. And try not to take off anything we might be rousting while we're exploring.
Yay.
This group? Nah. Alright, so you're heading into the tunnel?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I should ask that in character. So, you are planning to head into the tunnels. Are you going to be looking for the Jeff?
That will be part of our mission, yes.
You have our thanks then, if you can bring him back.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Or what's left of him.
Right.
That wasn't ominous at all. Bring back what's left of the Jeff.
I tend to expect the worst.
That's why I'm still alive.
I see that we think alike. Were you also a Jeff where you come from?
Where I come from, I am the Jeff. And especially the Jeff in this party.
There was only one Jeff in the entire settlement.
One Jeff.
Very plainly, our cultures differ in many respects. We prefer there to be multiple Jeffs for situations such as this one, where we send one off to go scouting.
We like the Chief Jeff, and then we also like the Jeff Explorer, and then we also like the Jeffster and the Jeff Maestro, and then there's also the Jeffinator. So there's a lot of different roles.
He's just shaking it. I cannot follow with this terminology. You will please excuse my ignorance. I will just refer to all of them as Jeffs.
That will help.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Just ignore Carve for a bit.
Meanwhile, while this discussion is going on, Sarissa has taken May aside to show her a very handy timekeeping trick since we are on a schedule here. If you tap your hand against the side of your leg once every couple seconds and just keep a mental count. Just that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't count it out loud though. You have to do it in your head. That way you can keep track of how much time is passing.
Ah,
Just
okay.
for keeping a beat
Very
during the song
interesting.
too. But
Yes, I was going to
when you-
say that's
you
what
know.
it made me think of.
That's
okay.
its original purpose. But it's also helpful if you don't have any kind of way to view the sun or check out.
Ah, okay.
Don't know how long the tortures are going to last you for.
Right.
Because somebody's got to keep this group focused.
So in order to know how many taps it takes for one marker to pass,
Alright.
Having trained with the Rangers, I can probably tell a bit of time from torch light, how quickly torches burn and it takes them to go out, kind of a thing, from experience of that.
Says the ranger trainer boy. Have you been in the caves much?
Yeah, so as I was saying to May, somebody needs to keep this group on track and keep track of our time, and you and I are the only ones that I actually trust to do that.
Ah, okay.
Not that I have anything against Pineleaf, but Pineleaf is more on the explorer front, and that's not really our role here. Let's be honest.
Right.
we've been having some weird dreams lately.
So should I start tapping now?
You want to start tapping now so that you can get used to.
Tap, tap, tap. When convinced.
You don't actually want to make any noise with the tapping. It's just it's a very gentle movement of the fingers.
And is this something we should kind of keep between ourselves and not really? I mean, we don't necessarily want anybody else to know we're doing it. Is that?
Well, I mean, if they ask you what you're doing, you can say that you're counting.
Ah, okay.
Keeping track of the time. Obviously, that's what we're doing. But we don't have to make a big production out of what we're doing.
Right. Okay, I understand. All right.
Buckle my shoes. 3, 4.
Old dwarven nursery.
Oh, no, that was not dwarven. That must have been hobbit, which I find hilarious because most hobbits don't wear shoes. So why the heck would they need to buckle them?
Like
It's
a
something I
light
must
bulb goes off in Maudal's mind. Oh, so the hobbits are the dwarves who don't wear shoes. And the dwarves are the hobbits who wear shoes. I see.
That's how I remember.
What have you been telling this man? Off we go.
This is gonna take a while.
Don't stay out too long.
No, because we have to be back in time for dinner and the council meeting.
Oh yes, so you are going to the council meeting.
Well, May and I definitely are planning to go because
Yes.
we got specific invitations.
And we might be a few minutes late, so if you want to delay it a little bit in the event.
No, we're not going to be late. Shut up and go.
Tap, 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 tap.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
so you head off into the tunnel.
No, it's Sarissa, it's her left hand that's tapping her side.
Okay.
Maybe just a couple fingers. Just the subtle movement. Ticking off the seconds.
So, like, what formation are you in, I guess? Like, how are you handling cave exploration this time?
Carve doth lead with torch in hand.
Indeed. Followed close by Andang.
First tunnel of such ill repute.
Right, you come to the first tunnel. What happens?
Well, since we all know that I have the eyes of a hawk and the nose of a fox, I'm going to sniff the air to see if I can recognize anything that would cause untold damage, death, destruction, and despair to our Jeff, who is so woefully missing.
Give me a survival roll.
I'm gonna roll.
Assuming Carve said that out loud, Andang is just amazed at how full of himself Carve is, and he thinks this to himself. Just amazed at how...
I used to know what my survival skills was.
Very bottom.
Very bottom. There it is. I use my survival skills a lot.
Okay. You don't really smell anything.
Anding hasn't got a leg to stand on, thinking that Carve is all conceited. Because, hello!
Well,
Hmm.
I have a nose of a cook. Maybe I'll just try sniffing also.
Do you want to use survival or do you want to use your cooking skill?
Well,
You'll get different information depending on which one you choose.
I will choose cooking skills since that is what I'm more used to, even though logic may say to use something else.
All right.
And oh, wait, how?
It's under crafting skills. And like
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got all the portraits covering that.
Oh,
So
Why
I
do
was
you
like,
have those up?
You should be able to
Pop
scroll.
out the...
yeah, can you pop it up?
You should be able to scroll it down.
you can pop that out. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I didn't know about that. Oh, there's cooking right there. Let's see.
Wow.
Every time cooking.
Yeah, so you probably smell.
Well, definitely not edible, probably.
You smell probably. Okay, so there's probably two smells. Like the main smell that you get is it's not so much cooking, but it's like fresh air. So like there's an outlet to the tunnel somewhere. But you also just get like pulses of wafts of what smells like rotting food. Like both meat and like rotting vegetables.
All right. Ooh,
Actually, thinking about what's down here, there's the smell of rotting eggs specifically stands out amidst all of the other just general
all right.
bad food smell.
Ew, smells like rotten eggs down here.
Okay. Well, I think of two possibles. Either we're dealing with a potential worm den, which is bad, or we're dealing with the troll den, which is also bad.
Tap, tap,
There
tap.
could be other things in there. But in either case, there's a reason why the Jeff didn't return.
Well.
Andang starts very quietly whispering Jeff. Very quietly.
You gonna come into the tunnel?
I'm okay to just walk by quietly.
Is that what the group's doing?
This is the first tunnel
Yes.
entrance. I kind of told that guy that we're gonna save Jeff, although he didn't seem too concerned about Jeff.
They're
I
pretty
disagree,
with that.
Andang. I think maybe we should probably chalk this one up to this may be something terrible, but if stuff doesn't come out of there, we may be okay not to go in there.
Wouldn't we want to know what's there though in the event?
I'll tell you what. We'll settle this agreement the way we do in the dwarf camps, with a game of rock, pick, and axe.
damn it!
This is how this works. Hold your fist up like this. That's a rock. It is solid. However, even the mightiest rock can be felled by a pick. Because only a lazy dwarf goes into work without a pick that doesn't have two.
Can you hold your fingers a little bit farther away from my eyes? People have done that
Remember from
before.
this? If your eyes are in your midsection, boy, you got issues. You forget how much shorter I am than you, Twig Man. So we have rock, we have pick, and then we have every dwarven worker knows that a pick, while it's great for rock, is horrible for fighting, so you need the axe. So rock, pick, axe. You see how this works? The rock is mighty, but it can be taken down by the pick. The pick is mighty, but it can be hewn by the axe. And then the axe is worthless against the rock. So we do this how the dwarves do. I say Baruch Hazad, and then you display either the rock, the pick, or the axe. You understand now?
Aye.
Okay. On two.
Right.
On two?
Yeah, you say Baruch and then Hazad. So that's two. Okay? Surely you are not this slow man. Ready?
Yes, it really is. Tap.
Baruch Hazad.
Ah.
Tap.
The axe beats the pick. You go down the top.
All right. So I like what the chat has said. So the group proceeds down the tunnel, and so I guess since we're ready to wrap up for the night, our session, we'll close with another scene. Like the tunnel fades to black, and we fade back in. And there's this ancient, it looks like a fortress, but it's in ruins. Parts are torn down, there's giant cobwebs up on one side, and there's like smoke coming from like the interior of the fortress. And it's on just these damp grass field. And there's a bunch of dead trees surrounding it. And there's like an eerie like mist that's just sort of settled upon everything. And we sort of zoom back from that, and we see there's just a giant army of, it looks like what we as the audience know as orcs. There's some men leading the ranks, and there's what we as the audience would recognize as wargs. And they're facing towards the fortress. And just in the front, there's like leading this army. There's someone wearing like it's like red robes with like a hood that's been cast back, and just a giant metal helmet that has like a cross guard over the face, so you can sort of see the eyes and like the mouth area, but it's protecting the nose and such. And he grins a little bit. Then he like looks back and just yells "Charge!" And then just the mass starts attacking the fort, or running towards the fortress to attack. And then I think we'll just cut to black there.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Tales of the Free Folk. When we return, who knows what might happen? Myself and Carb might get into a heated brawl. Somebody might lose an eye. We'll see what happens. And we'll see you in 2 weeks to find out what happens. But till then, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.